All right, welcome everybody to another edition of SpectrumCast. I am here with my co-host, Randy Arsenault. How you doing, Randy?
Hey, Steve.
And we are here doing another modern data protection podcast or vodcast having to do with our business partners that add technology value to our modern data protection portfolio. This week we're on with Auwau and the CEO, Thomas Beck. Hey, Thomas, how are you?
Hey, Steve. I'm doing well, thanks.
Good. And Adam Berry. Hey, Adam from Auwau.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, how are you guys?
Coolest partner name ever, by the way. Just want to put that out there.
And that was going to be my first question. So, we've got this great name, Auwau. Tell us a little bit, Thomas, how did you guys come up with that name? And what does it mean?
I've had that question a couple of times, Steve, and I used to tell that was the last name available on .com, right? But that's not really the truth. Auwau really reflects the value of Cloudtility and the way we think and the way we work. It stands for automation, the AU, that's automation, and always with a wow effect in mind. You know, when we develop new features, when we take customer requirements and develop stuff in Cloudtility and really say, wow, this is what we need.
So that's interesting, right? Then company name is Auwau, and the product that we're talking about today is Cloudtility. Tell us a little bit about how Cloudtility came to be. What was it you were thinking about in the company? What problems had you happened to see in this space? And you said, it'd be really important to have a piece of technology like this.
Yeah, well, it actually all started back in 2006, where I was co-founding and owner of a company providing enterprise class data protection and recovery services to thousands of end customers. We kind of had a vision of bringing enterprise class data protection to market in a new way. So to do that, we built a software solution sitting on top of IBM data protection technology, SpectrumProtect. And this software solution enabled us to segregate our customers and resellers and still protect their production data in a shared SpectrumProtect infrastructure. The Cloudtility solution, it took out the kind of enterprise complexity from SpectrumProtect, and thereby enabled us to really deliver our services to any size of customers, from the enterprise size customers and all the way down to small, mid-sized customers. And that company really became a huge success and was acquired back in 2016 by a global provider of data protection services. This company, they were not a software developing company. So before that acquisition, we actually took out the Cloudtility part of the company and split that out into a separate company, Auwau, and that's the company that we are running today.
So it's automation of the wow factor. That's perfect. I like that. That makes perfect sense. So we talked a little bit prior to kicking off the session. You guys are located, as Westerners, from our perspective, you're in Copenhagen, even though technically you're sort of outside Copenhagen. But is most of your business concentrated in Denmark, or do you have clients that, how big of a geography do you cover?
Oh, absolutely not. We are, our clients, our customers are spread across 20 countries by now, is my best guess. We teamed up with IBM. We built Cloudtility for IBM, SpectrumProtect. The multi-tenant model, the whole go-to-market model, that's kind of the backbone of Cloudtility. We really believe that would lead us to big success. And we had to choose a backup, a data protection technology that would allow us to grow and grow very big without that success being our worst enemy, right? So we actually teamed up with IBM, and we built the platform, the Cloudtility platform for IBM SpectrumProtect, to be able to scale, to be able to deliver backup to any type of company, any type of data that needs to be protected. We wanted to be able to protect that, and IBM Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus is kind of, I mean, if you ask me, that's the world's best engine to really scale to ensure that you have a robust engine, and also to ensure that that when customers have breakdown, when they have disasters, then you are able to help them. So Cloudtility was built on top of Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus, and very quickly we actually teamed up with the global management team on the storage side of IBM, and today IBM is actually reselling the Cloudtility solution across the globe. Yeah, we do have great big customers in Denmark as well, and in the Nordics and elsewhere, but our customers is really spread across the entire globe.
So Adam, tell us a little bit about what your role is at Auwau, and tell me your favorite thing about working at Auwau.
My role is I'm the head of software development, and I also do some front-end development on our that's basically we could talk more about our technology, but it's basically we provide business and reporting services for IBM Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus, and all the data is available via an extensive REST API and a companion web application. And a lot of the work on the web application I actually do. So that means taking feature requests both from ourselves and from customers and transforming them into breaking them down to workflows, and actually producing the graphical user interface and the process for achieving a said feature or said outcome. And my favorite thing about working here.
Careful, Thomas is on.
Yeah, and I was thinking, does it take that long to come up with an answer?
No, there's so much, Thomas. It's a matter of limitation. We have a distributed or online organization, so we all work from home, and we've been doing that for 6.5 years. Now, for you guys at IBM, it's probably just every day at the office, so to speak. But that's quite rare in Denmark. But from the beginning on, when I was onboarded, I was actually onboarded in the company before we were sold. So I came aboard in 2013, at the end of 2013, to build up the software development organization at the previous company. And then a couple of years later, it was sold, and I became or stayed part of the organization. But when we made the foundation or laid the foundation for the organization back in 2013, I was basically given anything I wanted. Kind of like, how do you want to make this organization? And on the first meeting Thomas and I had, he asked me, "So Adam, what do you think about what should we do about an office?" And I said, "If you don't mind, I think we should make an organization where we can sit and work alongside each other, but we can also be on opposite sides of the globe if we want to."
So very modern work style.
Yeah.
Yes, it was, and it's been our focus all the way through the process of. So as a second part of the what do I enjoy most about working here is the level of ability to do what I think is basically makes sense.
I actually recall that meeting, Adam, and I remember you telling me after that meeting that you kind of prepared everything, because one of the things you also told me that was that we are going to build up the software from scratch again. Yeah. Because we were going into a new architecture with the software, and you had laid out like a huge list of arguments and stuff, because you really thought that there would be a lot of resistance against that. And I mean, I kind of chose you as head of software development because I trusted you to lay out the right plan for our software development. So I think you were rather surprised that I said, I think that's a great
Were,
idea, Adam.
were you,
I,
were you
I, I
disappointed
was
that
I
you
was
didn't,
surprised.
were you
Yeah.
disappointed that you didn't have to staunchly defend your vision? And
Not at all. Not at all. It was very pleasing to meet someone like-minded.
So Adam, you had started to talk a little bit about specifically what Cloudtility does. So why don't we talk a little bit about specifically what Cloudtility does and offers, and maybe how it links together with Protect and or Protect Plus, or is Plus on the roadmap? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. On a fundamental level, so regardless of how you use Cloudtility, you get, as I mentioned before, these business and reporting services for IBM Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus. And what the system enables you to do is it enables you to model and remodel your organizational hierarchy at your backend servers, that be Spectrum Protect or Spectrum Protect Plus, and distribute your backup clients across the hierarchy. So for instance, you have backup nodes, you have various types of application servers, you have hypervisors and virtual machines. And by doing this, you achieve primarily an overview of how data storage intensive your various business units are across the hierarchy. And you get automated daily reporting, which gives you a status for each business unit and subsequently each individual backup node. So you can see if everything's proceeding as intended or whether there's something you need to look into. And these reports can be viewed either directly via the web application, or they can be sent via email at either daily, specific dates, days of the week, or specific days of the month. So you can like schedule this reporting. On top of that, we have various components depending on what you really want to achieve. So we have for instance, we have an economical component, which is kind of meant for managed service providers or chargeback organizations, which basically converts this system into a subscription business. So through that, you can create products and subscriptions where the values can be based upon the daily reports from Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus. That could be data storage values. It could be transferred data, but it could also be hourly support or even fixed amounts which are invoiced each month. Say if you have a base subscription and you want to invoice, I don't know, $100 or whatever for the basic feature set. Then you can assign these subscriptions to contracts between business units across the hierarchy. And when you've done that, the system automatically creates billing data at a specific date, configurable date, I should say, each month, which you can then use to import into your ERP system and generate invoices based on that.
And if I may interrupt a little bit there, Adam,
Sure.
I think we are in 2020 and we are still surprised sometimes when new clients coming in, getting some knowledge on the way that they are actually getting information from various systems to automate or to handle their billing, I would say. Yeah. I mean, even big known organizations are still relying on a few employees that would kind of hack into systems, that would be handling big, complicated spreadsheets to do the monthly billing, and it's just error prone, and it's a very hard process, and that's where Cloudtility comes in as a solution where we automate that whole process and ensures that every customer is getting the bill they should have. Like we have customers creating 10,000s of billing lines automatically in a matter of seconds every month.
Yeah. Take us from that fateful meeting to kind of where you are today. How has your business grown? How have you competitively positioned yourself in the market? Because obviously, in the era of cyber resiliency and enhanced security and sovereignty and GDPR and et cetera, data protection is becoming critically important. So how do you guys position yourself competitively in this fast growing market?
Talking about competition, I mean, there are a lot of great software vendors out there, and also software vendors who kind of compete with what we do in certain ways. But I think, I mean, our biggest competitors really are the competitors to IBM Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus. Sure. Because obviously, if IBM is not in, we are also out. To the competitor side, I would say that we typically has a total different approach than some of the software vendors that we could call our competitors. A lot of the software solutions out there take like a technology approach, like software built to help the backup administrator, and that kind of helps on the technology side, where Cloudtility really from the beginning was built to help the business, providing a data protection service to the market. So our approach of enabling our clients to build their organization in a secure, flexible, multi-tenant model, and then on top of this multi-tenant like hierarchy model, we enable features in a role-based user administration interface. So on all levels, whether this is like customer users that are added to different tenants, to different customers, or if it's departmental managers, whatever it is, they can be added and added with a role that matches their job in the organization. And you know, automation of stuff like billing, tenant reporting, you know, giving organizational users access to self-service functions and features is really where Cloudtility comes in as a strong solution, compared to solutions that kind of help the administrator with the tasks he normally does in another way.
Yeah, or using IBM's own software like Operations Center, for instance. We don't compete with Operations Center, so we have a totally different focus.
And we talk a lot about excuse me, we talk a lot about adding, you know, business value on top of the operational efficiencies and the technical value that the solution delivers. And I mean, you've nailed that clearly, because you're allowing the business to both improve its efficiency, which then allows it to do more value added tasks and not focus so much on the administrative stuff.
So that was kind of an overview of the economical component. Mm-hmm. We also have a self-service component built in. So because of the secure multi-tenant hierarchy that Thomas mentioned before, it means that every user in the system is restricted to their own business units and its potential descendant business unit hierarchy. So you could be at the top and have something, have business units below you. And that means that with the correct privileges, which are also required, you can actually let users create backup nodes in Cloudtility, which are then subsequently activated in Spectrum Protect under rules defined by Spectrum Protect administrators. So there's no risk of letting the individual user mess up your infrastructure. So for instance, you can define various node name rules. You can define activation parameters, which vary depending on what you're activating. If it's a file server, if it's an exchange node or DB2, whatever. And again, optionally, you can let users request the deletion of backup clients from their business units, and let others within the hierarchy or an ancestral hierarchy approve or decline the requests, after which Cloudtility, if you so want, can actually execute the deletions from Spectrum Protect in a managed way. So the entire process.
I think that's one of those features where we provide a lot of value, because I mean, as a service provider, you really want to be able to control deletions of data. So, you may have a departmental user calling into the IT department telling that he needs data to be deleted. But how do we know that this guy calling in or girl calling in is actually entitled to request the deletion? And how do we ensure that the administrator is deleting the right data and at the right time? And that's where Cloudtility actually has a built-in process where some users are privileged to request the deletion, other users have to approve it, and after the whole deletion process finishes, Cloudtility will have like a documented workflow so that if the customer dials in half a year later saying we need that node recovered, a search in Cloudtility for that node, instead of finding the node, will bring up actually the a report stating who requested, who approved it, and when was it deleted, and a comment on why was that data deleted.
So you've got the full chain of custody.
So I'm a client. What are the types of things I should be thinking about when it comes to my data protection environment that I would say, geez, I wish there was a solution that does what Cloudtility does, and then I'd want to reach out to them. So what are the types of things as a client I should be thinking about if I want to kind of take on Cloudtility as a partner and put that into my environment?
Well, I'm relieved to tell that you don't have to worry a lot about changes within the way you are running your data protection environment today. And I think that's one of the common misconceptions when clients are looking into software solutions like Cloudtility, being afraid of having to change everything they do. Cloudtility is an easy to install and plug and play solution that works with Spectrum Protect and Spectrum Protect Plus exactly the way that the client is running Spectrum Protect and Plus today. And there is a lot of settings. There is a lot of different ways to run Spectrum Protect. But dear clients, you can keep running your environment as is. You install Cloudtility, you connect your Spectrum Protect servers, and once you've built your hierarchy of tenants, you start assigning backup nodes, and plug and play, you have access to the reporting, to the billing numbers and everything else in the solution.
And the business benefit I'm going to get from that is?
Well, it really depends. The business benefit can vary from client to client. The most obvious value would be those of our clients who actually deploys Cloudtility, turns around their investment they already did in data protection, and now makes that into a recurrent revenue engine. So, that's where you have the return on investment immediately starting, getting payment from your data protection environment, from your data protection skills, from your data protection investment, right? But in other cases, you simply have requirements from your departments. One of our university customers, they had departments, they wanted to do all things themselves. And there was no way that the IT department could kind of control what these users did until they found Cloudtility, deployed that on top of Spectrum Protect. Now they could provide a centralized data protection engine, but allow the different departments to be segregated and to allow the different departments to do what they needed to do on a daily basis. That's probably.
I think it always ultimately comes back to, in my mind, enabling them or freeing them from all these mundane operational administrative tasks so that they can focus on adding value, like doing what they want to be doing. So, great example of that.
All right, Thomas and Adam, I see you have two of your faithful clients here who have joined us here on our vodcast. We have Christian Peterson from Christian. Tell us a little. You're from Christie. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Sure. My name is Christian Peterson, and I'm the business development manager for Christie, located in Sweden. We're a typical IBM partners acting in the European markets.
Ah, very good. And Joe, tell us a little bit about who you are and yourself.
Hi, Joseph King from CES Severn. I'm the company's Chief Technology Officer, and we focus on data protection and storage as one of our major business areas in North America.
Great. So we're talking to Auwau and talking about the Cloudtility solution. And, the gentlemen have brought you guys on to talk a little bit about the business value of Cloudtility. So maybe Christian, why don't you jump in and tell us, when it comes to utilizing Cloudtility or Auwau, what have you guys seen when it comes to its return on investment or how it actually helps clients in their environments?
So that's a good question, Steve. So basically is that we acting in two different spaces, normally enterprises and a typical cloud provider, cloud service provider, but more locally than instead of Amazon or Google, IBM or whatever, just the big enterprises. And Auwau is actually helping us to sort of taking those service providers and enterprises to be more self-service environment instead of, let's say, have a traditional legacy IT department where everyone is sort of asking IT for a favor or slacking or using, literally is that in a traditional way, we saw that our customers' IT department get always like hook up by the coffee machine that, oh, by the way, Bob, or whatever the admin name, and like, can you do a favor for me, And it doesn't matter if it's a cloud provider or it's an enterprise. And Auwau actually help us to release time and create a more self-service feeling for our backup admins, actually. And they don't get annoyed by the coffee machine, on a daily basis, basically. But they're so common, actually, that they're always like, now, someone pop up and just grab me because of they want to get a favor. They don't want to go through the normal ticket service or whatever they do because everyone is in a hurry. And by using a self-service portal like Cloudtility is actually making their life much easier, and they can like avoiding those conversations and then be more proactive in that sense.
So Joe, can you tell us a little bit about how you guys work with Auwau and leverage the Cloudtility tool?
So what's a little bit unique about CES Severn is we're not a cloud service provider for data protection services. What we do is work with clients who may be service providers for their businesses and help them build out their own service provider practice. So really, we build service providers for storage and for data protection. On the data protection front, our work with Cloudtility is really there to provide that managed service platform for them to be able to serve their clientele. And in the end, enhance what they're doing with IBM, Spectrum Protect, Spectrum Protect Plus to be able to have that multi-tenant facet to their business. And for them, this is critical because the questions that a cloud provider may have when it comes to how do I deal with chargeback, how do I take care of troubleshooting, how do I take care of ticket management, their groups that may be providing backup services into these enterprises may not have any capability of providing that with the uniqueness that's required for a data protection workload. And so Auwau is bringing that multi-tenancy, that being able to do differentiated security into that space. So in building out a service provider capability for these clients, and most of the time when we're doing it, this is the first time they've actually had a platform to manage that aspect of their environment before, really changes how they organize. And in the end, it makes them more cost effective. So they're able to maintain their internal backup as a service capabilities instead of being forced to go out and leverage one of the other players that are out there. This is where the power of what IBM allows to happen in their marketplace around their products, and I call it the ecosystem. So, we coordinate the at CS Severn. I help coordinate the DC, Maryland, Northern Virginia Spectrum Protect Users Group. And what we talk a lot about is ecosystem, and Cloudtility being a large part of that ecosystem. So a client comes to us with a challenge that's out there, and we go and work with organizations like Cloudtility, who are typically small businesses, but nimble, very nimble. And when there's unique requirements that come up there, what we find more often than not is they're willing to meet the challenge, where a large software provider would not be able to put that into their development cycle in any form of reasonable time at all. And so that unique requirement now that was in there, and it was for certificate-based secure card access into the managed service portal from Cloudtility, was a unique capability that I don't believe anybody else in the market can provide. And so this met their mission, met their rollout, was able to be more successful, was able to keep within their security envelope. But I think it really highlights the creativity and really the commitment to customers that organizations like Auwau bring to the market.
Yeah, and this is a great example. We talk a lot about this kind of concept of a value supply chain. So we as a provider of solutions to a company like Auwau, which then builds value add services on top of that, which are delivered to CS Severn and subsequently passed on to your end users and your customers. So it's really interesting to see how you take that technology foundation and continue to build additive value layers on top of it. It's really, really cool.
No, and it works the other way around as well. I mean, without partners like Christie Nordic and CS7, I mean, we wouldn't be so strong in the market. I mean, we need those local representatives that knows the market that they're in, that knows the customers, that knows the pain their customers are in, that can actually take a solution like Cloudtility. They can kind of position it, they can install it, they can support it. It's without that partner network, we would be nothing.
So Christian and Joe, I want to thank you guys both very much for coming on. And I'm assuming, and maybe give a little shout out for yourselves or a plug, if I want to deploy data protection solutions, or I'm thinking about data protection solutions and I need some assistance, Joe, I reach out to you and your company, and you can help me with my solution, as well as Cloudtility, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. And you can reach us at cassevern.com. That's CASSEVERN.com. Look forward to hearing from folks.
And Christian?
Yeah, so of course, in the European region that we are located, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. And for us, it's christienordic.com, really. I think we are fairly famous in the European market. That's basically most of the customer knows about us already. Thomas and Steve, I just want to add one thing, because I was really interesting. I actually come out of a meeting today from a potential customer in Finland, actually, and they have went all in Linus Torvald style, really, and basically want to go all in API. They taught on API first only, and they talked about Kubernetes. They talked about, and later it's like, sure, we can talk about Spectrum Protect Plus, how it works and so on. But the only thing was actually showing that for them to take the next step and really look into this as a serious option was actually Cloudtility. Because now we could do everything, billing, and we can multi-tenant everything through API. And that was really interesting for them. And I think if you're going for a modern data center, and the API first is actually the first thing you need to go for. And Cloudtility takes you to that level.
Great. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much, Joe and Christian.
Thomas and Adam, I want to thank you guys very much for joining the podcast. It's been a great pleasure, and super happy you guys brought on a couple of partners to talk about the solution and shed some more light on the types of things that you guys do. So
yes, thank you.
We'll be
I may add, before we say goodbye, Steve, I may add that Cloudtility is available through IBM Passport Advantage. So that our clients across the world can actually go to their local IBM representative and and actually get the solution directly from IBM or from one of the IBM partners reselling Cloudtility as well.
That's very
Awesome.
good to know. Good to know.
All right,
So-
gentlemen, thank you very much. Thanks to Auwau, thanks to Cas Severn, as well as I always forget Christian's company name, Christy Nordic. All right?
Christy Nordic, yes.
So,
Great.
gentlemen, thank you for your time. This was a great session. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to chatting in the future.